When it comes to WWE 2K games, I haven't played them in a long time. I used to play these games all the time back when I was a kid, but nowadays I just let it go by every year because I'm not gonna touch that shit. Unlike NBA 2K, which has its grasp on me because of its upside, WWE 2k22 doesn't really have as many upsides, if any at all. When it came to the older games, it was fun, it was creative, it was entertaining, and you could really feel the passion that the developers had. It was wild. I mean, you could do a lot of crazy shit in the old games. In comparison to nowadays, which the video game sports market is just kind of saturated with copy and paste games, and I'm not trying to make a video based off the sports game genre as a whole. I just want to judge WWE 2K as its own standalone game. But I cannot go without mentioning the fact that nowadays, WWE games are just copied and pasted just like every other sports game. All for one thing, the ancient sin of human beings, money. I'll tell you right now, if the shareholders could sell an arm, a leg, and their kids for extra money, you bet your ass they would fucking do that in a heartbeat. These motherfuckers are heartless monsters, all with one desire, one goal in life to exist, and that is for your money to end up in their wallets. No matter how they have to do it, they will get that job done. And oh boy, did they add something in WWE 2k22 just to steal your money. There's a game mode called My Faction, and to sum it up very quickly, it is a poor version of 2K's My Team. I thought this would be impossible because My Team is a cesspool of awful gaming practices. But at least this game mode has a purpose with the sport, and 2K's just taking advantage of this. But for WWE, there's no reason to have this at all. And yet, here it is. It exists in this game, and it's fucking shit. This game mode, in short, is just an ATM bank to transfer your money to them. So please, dear God, first off, do not get this game. And secondly, if you do get this game, do not play this game mode. The next worst game mode in WWE 2k22 is My GM, which is a really sad and depressing thing to say because My GM is the whole reason why I got into this game back as a kid. The My GM mode was so much fun, it was the only thing I played. You could orchestrate the story modes behind the fighters, decide why they're fighting, what they're fighting for, where they're fighting. It was so detailed, like for example, how many belts you could fight for. You could fight for the WWE Championship, or the World Championship, or the Tag Team Championship, or the Light Heavyweight Championship, the International Championship, the American Championship. I mean, there were so many belts you could fight for. The variety was endless. Unlike this My GM, where you could only fight for 2 belts. And on top of that, it is limited in so many other categories. Like for example, in this My GM, you could only fight in 1v1s and 2v2s. In comparison to the old My GMs, when you could fight in 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, a trio match, TCLs, Money in the Bank, Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chambers. I mean, there were so many different formats in which your fighters could fight in comparison to this, which only has 2. Next is the My Career mode of WWE. I don't even know what the fucking game mode is actually called, but I'm just gonna call it My Career, because it reminds me so much of NBA 2K Story mode. They're both awful and fucking unplayable. I'd much rather sit in a goddamn corner and watch paint fucking dry, and I mean that in a literal sense. I think that would be more satisfying than playing any My Career mode in NBA or WWE 2K. At least with NBA's 2K My Career, there's some type of shitty progression system. It's still there. There's some type of incentive to make you play. Even if the incentive is god-awful and the progression system should be much better, there's at least a reason to play that game. Here, there's no reason because progressing your character does not really affect any other game mode like NBA 2K. So you're solely playing this game mode for the story mode, and I'm telling you right now, it is not fucking worth. It is awful and it's unbearable. I can't even tell you how much I was struggling throughout this game mode. I barely managed to play this for like an hour. So these next 2 game modes actually have some benefit for WWE 2k22. And the first of these modes is the Play Now. And the Play Now has always been a very simplistic and easy game mode to get right. And for the most part, I feel like they kind of accomplished this, but correct me if I'm wrong, I felt like back in the older games, you can fight like in crazy locations. Like you could fight in the backstage, the locker room, the parking lot. I mean, there was so much variety with the locations you could fight in comparison to this where you just change the ringside. The last game mode I want to mention is the Rey Mysterio story mode. This is surprisingly pretty decent. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I like the little documentary between each of the fights, and I love how you could play in the historical matches of Rey Mysterio's career. The only problem with this game mode is that it is a really neat side mode. It isn't supposed to be the main attraction. The main game modes that people want to play are My GM, which they failed drastically at. But let's say if they got My GM right, the Rey Mysterio story mode would actually be a really good supporting game mode. But the only problem is that it has no game modes to support, so when it's all by itself, it feels lackluster. But other than that, that's it. Should you buy this game? Fuck no. Definitely do not buy this game. It is not worth your money. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, consider liking, subscribing, and comment below what I should do next. I'll do movies, games, anime, shows, whatever. But again, thank you for watching.